Hello and welcome. I am Akshat Anand.
And I am Madhur Goyal, and we are first year BA LLB students, and we are presenting this assignment for our torts law subject.
Today we will be analyzing a landmark case in English tort law, Paris vs. Stepeheny Borough Council from 1951. This case fundamentally reshaped our understanding of an employer's duty of care, especially towards employees with known vulnerabilities.
We will be breaking down the case into its essential elements: the facts, the legal issue, the ratio decidendi, the ultimate ruling, and the lasting legal principles it established. Let's start.
Madhur, let's first establish the factual matrix of this case. Mr. Paris was employed as a garage hand by the Stepeheny Borough Council. Crucially, he had a pre-existing disability.
That's correct, Akshat. A prior injury had left Mr. Paris with functional eyesight in only one eye. This condition was known to his employers as it was discovered during a medical examination. Now, during his work, he was hammering a rusted U-bolt on a vehicle chassis.
While performing this task, a metal chip flew off and struck his one good eye. The consequences were catastrophic. It resulted in total blindness. The central question was regarding the safety measures in place. The council did not provide protective goggles for garage hands performing this kind of a specific task.
It's important to note that while goggles were provided for more obviously hazardous jobs like welding and grinding, it was common practice across the industry not to provide them for this type of work. Mr. Paris subsequently sued the council, alleging negligence for failing to provide and enforcing the use of protective goggles.
I demand compensation, sir. If you had provided goggles, I wouldn't have lost my sight.
We only provide them where the risk is obvious, Mr. Paris.
So, the core legal question before the court was this: the employer's duty of care required them to take extra precautions for Mr. Paris given his known vulnerability, even if such precautions were not the standard for other employees in the industry.
Precisely, the council's primary defense rested on 2 points. First, the low probability of such an incident occurring, and second, their compliance with common industry practice. Since no other garages provided goggles for this task, their conduct was not negligent.
Mr. Paris's argument, however, was that the standard of care is not a one-size-fits-all concept. For him, the risk was not just a minor eye injury, but the gravest possible consequence: total blindness. This elevated risk, he argued, mandated a higher standard of care.
In Paris against Stepeheny, the essential legal principle established is that the duty owed to a workman is based on the risk, not the man.
The case progressed to the highest court at that time, the House of Lords. The Lords overturned the Court of Appeal decision and ruled in favor of Mr. Paris, holding the council liable for negligence.
My lords, the defendants were aware of the plaintiff's existing vulnerability. A breach of duty is clearly established.
The key legal principle, the ratio decidendi, established by this ruling is profound. The court held that an employer's duty of care is personal and non-delegable. It is owed to each individual employee and is relevant in all circumstances, including any known peculiarities and vulnerabilities of the employee must be considered.
This leads to the crucial point. The House of Lords affirmed that the seriousness of the potential injury is a crucial factor in determining the standard of care, independent of the probability of the accident occurring.
For a two-eyed person, an injury like this would mean impairment in one eye. But for Mr. Paris, this injury resulted in total blindness. A reasonable and prudent employer should have taken the simple precautions of providing goggles.
Let's let's crystallize essential legal principle this case established in the tort law.
First, the standard of care in negligence is flexible and must be tailored to the individual. The reasonable person test must account for the specific characteristics of the plaintiff known to the defendant.
Second, the gravity of the potential harm is a decisive factor. A lower probability of risk can be offset by the extreme severity of potential consequence, thereby inquiring preservative measures.
Third, common industry practice is not an absolute defense. If it's obviously necessary to take additional precautions for someone with known vulnerabilities, an employer cannot hide behind the defense of common industry practice to justify the failure to act.
Since the duty of care is not diluted by what is common, but is intensified by what is foreseeable for a specific individual.
In summary, Paris vs. Stepeheny Borough Council is a cornerstone in employers' liability and the law of negligence. It moved the legal focus from a generalized standard to a more individualized and humane one.
Indeed, the ultimate ruling enforced that the law imposes a duty on employers to see the employers not as the homogeneous group but as individuals with specific circumstances that directly influence the scope of the care required.
This case reminds us that in tort law, reasonableness is not a static concept, but is dynamically shaped by context, knowledge, and the profound consequences of inaction.
Thank you for watching. This presentation was brought to you by Akshat, Anand and Madhur Goyal. Thank you.
Thank you.